In this story, the protagonist reveals that he seized the chance to uncover the true self of a young girl, which led to their journey through the mysterious sharehouse. It all begins when the protagonist arrives at the Seishin Academy station. Unconsciously, his gaze falls on his reflection on a glass wall, and automatically, his lips curl up in a smile as he practices introducing himself as Inuzuka Yu. Note to self, practice smiling without scaring children. However, the smirk is so Grinch-like that a child standing close to the wall wails in panic, claiming that his face appears like some cheesy horror show. Yu is embarrassed for screwing up again, as smiling has been a forever struggle for him, and all his life, people have been intimidated by his awkwardness and grim expression. Maybe you should get a How to Smile handbook. However, he makes up his mind to enjoy his youth to the fullest while starting high school in the spring. Two youths passed by him, remarking on a live stream called Cast Live. One of them especially mentions a streamer that he is currently hooked on. Suddenly, one of Yu's live streaming sessions flashes before his eyes, and he shudders in agitation. He vows that he will certainly change his ways in high school. The fellas keep on discussing how the streamer excels in cosplaying and playing games, but Yu is adamant that he won't get swiped away this time. Spoiler, he probably will get swiped. It's just his luck. He comes across a building and wonders whether this is where he will be staying. Quite nervously, he enters and finds it surprisingly well kept, as if it were some isolated place. A dreadful thought crosses his mind as he is about to open the door, that from now onwards, he will be living with someone else. He quickly prepares himself on how to make a good impression on his roommate with a pleasant smile and good conduct. But as the door opens, he is shocked to encounter a young maiden and nearly gets a heart attack as she draws near to him. He frantically apologizes to her, but the girl is thoroughly amused. He's thinking, what are the odds? I'm already living in a sitcom. She expresses her gratitude for stopping her and addresses him by his name. She proclaims that she was about to greet him personally, but it seems as if their timings clashed. A nervous Yu blurts out about how cute she is. When she appears puzzled, he quickly covers it up by terming that a slip of the tongue. He is curious about a girl loitering in this place, wondering whether it is an all-boys dormitory. The girl coughs a little to gain his attention and introduces herself as Arizugawa Hakua. She informs him that from that day, they will both be living in the same sharehouse, and thus begins the most awkward roommate arrangement in history. A perplexed Yu cannot believe his ears about sharing a place with a girl. Suddenly, something strikes his brain, and he curiously wonders whether she is a boy in reality. She exclaims that she is indeed a female and then pushes him in a direction towards his room, which is the middle one on the second floor. The puzzled lad enters the room and finds it more spacious than expected. He plops on the bed and casually places his hand on the bed when it feels as if something is squashed beneath the sheets. He jumps out of fright to see another young girl unaffectedly sleeping on the bed. Yu's thinking, I didn't sign up for this. Yu's hysterical screams wake up the girl from her slumber, and she watches him inquisitively. A jittery Yu instantly guesses that by mistake he has entered the wrong room and tries to recall the correct direction mentioned by Hakua. After a short awkward pause, the girl nonchalantly yawns, apologizing that she usually gets confused between the rooms. Next, she boldly holds his chin and peers at him closely as his face breaks into a baffled smile. She figures that Yu's not very good at smiling. He tries to explain, but she quickly grabs his hand, places it on herself, and declares him a comrade. At least he's making friends, right? Sort of. Instantly, the mystery girl gets up, announcing that she is heading downstairs, leaving him completely confused. After he regains his composure, he comes out thinking anxiously about whether the sharehouse has boys or not. Out of the blue, a tiny lad approaches him, feeling grateful to find a male peer. Even Yu is relieved to see a normal boy and hopes that they can be buddies. Instantly, the boy brings several boxes of Maytake for Yu. When he nervously protests that he has given him too much, the generous boy stacks up a few more. He explains that he usually has mushrooms for meals, but he wants to give them to him this time to celebrate the special occasion. I guess mushrooms are the new welcome gift. He requests that whenever Yu finds any rare candy, he must share it with him. When the boy leaves, Yu concludes that the lad is slightly weird but a nice guy. Curiously, he enters the bath area and, like a bolt for the blue, encounters a near-bare maiden wrapped in a towel. The girl freaks out in humiliation and requests that he shut the door. A distressed Yu immediately obliges, trembling like a leaf. The shaken girl points out the in use sign hanging outside the bathroom, and Yu is thoroughly embarrassed because he hadn't noticed it before. Yu's face, bright red, inside and out. The maiden in the towel is concerned whether he saw all. He hysterically denies, claiming that he couldn't see much of it. The maiden turns maniacal, guessing that this means he must have seen something. He gasps in terror since he can sense that killing intent in her tone. Suddenly, the door slams open and she comes out, this time fully dressed. He quickly stammers an apology, but she hurriedly dashes out, insisting he forget. Yu is upset, thinking that he screwed up big time. Like a gush of fresh breeze, a young man calls out to him, thoroughly amused, guessing that he blundered big time on his first day. And thus concludes day 1 of living with strangers, the Yu saga. He assures him that such mishaps often occur when one shares a living space. He suggests apologizing later and breaks into a fit of laughter, since he was not expecting Yu to be that careless on his first day. Guess Yu's reputation for awkwardness is already well established, but he knows how helpless he was as the circumstances were completely unavoidable. Still, he cannot help but wonder about the identity of this dashing-looking hunk. When the gentleman catches him staring at him wide-eyed, he cracks a joke that probably Yu has fallen for him. Seeing him uncomfortable, he assures him that he was just pulling his leg, and then informs him that everyone has gathered in the living room, so they must go. Soon, when everyone has settled down, Hakua announces that the next day will be their first day in the Seishin Academy, and they will be sharing the same dorm from now onwards. A jittery Yu cannot believe his ears that he will actually be sharing the house with those people. Welcome to the weirdest dorm ever, Yu. The handsome hunk casually stretches himself and remarks about everything being perfect in this dorm. He elaborates that moving in is totally free, and the living expenses have been reduced by half. The little guy adds that the inspection and the test were pretty difficult. Hakua concurs that although they have been allowed to live here, a certain responsibility has been bestowed upon them. Yu goes bonkers, but then the black-haired girl who accidentally slept on his bed points at the ceiling surveillance camera. Hakua explains that in this dorm, living together under surveillance is necessary. While guess Yu's secret youthful rebellion is about to get a lot more public, now the whole situation is too overwhelming for Yu to digest. However, the handsome hunk is very much excited. Even the little guy finds his housemates quite interesting and expresses his desire to live with them. The black-haired girl tries to act aloof. The shy maiden affirms nervously. So when Hakua gleefully offers to introduce herself, Yu freaks out since he is the only one who has issues with the bizarre adaptation. Hakua introduces herself and mentions that her grandmother is the chairman of the Seishin Academy. Currently, she has been given the responsibility to look after the dorm. She encourages them to consult her in case of any trouble. Well, now we know who's in charge, and it's definitely not you. The shy girl introduces herself as Jimmy Yuzuko, and the aloof black-haired maiden calls herself Takane Sora. Next, the handsome boy introduces himself as Setu Vina and mentions that he is half Russian. He emphasizes that they can call him Vina for short. After that, the little lad introduces himself as Soton Sauda, and he has a strong sweet tooth. Lastly, Hakua points at Yu to introduce himself, but the jittery boy breaks into a cold sweat as he recalls how difficult those introductory sessions have been in the past. But this time, he musters up the courage to change himself and stammeringly introduces himself as Inuzuka Yu. He's got that awkward but determined vibe going strong. Out of nowhere, it slips out of his tongue that he wants to enjoy his youth to the fullest. There is a stark silence after his freakish revelation. Yu is devastated, immediately regretting his words. Hakua breaks the awkward silence by suggesting a moving-in party, and everyone readily agrees. Soon, both Yu and Hakua go to the supermarket for some ingredient shopping. She manages everything, and he stares at her in sheer awe. She becomes uncomfortable with his constant gazing, so she wonders if something is bothering him. At first he hesitates, but then clarifies how he feels she is so level-headed and was even composed when they met for the first time, unlike him, who, in panic, babbled nonsense. Yu's thinking, why can't I just be normal for once? She turns around and claims that his goal, to live his youth to the fullest, is quite remarkable. She feels that he is really futuristic to come up with something like this, despite his awkwardness. Hakua admits that she was just trying to look cool, and there is nothing praiseworthy about it. Yu relaxes a little and is curious whether she has any particular goal before starting school. She thinks for a moment and expresses her wish to follow her grandmother's footsteps and become an amazing leader like her one day. For this reason, she aims to become a student council president, which she is aware will be quite challenging for her to win since elections will be held for that position. Hakua's got big dreams. Meanwhile, Yu's just trying to get through the day without making a fool of himself, Animatedly, he grabs her shoulder and assures her that she will be able to win for sure. Again, he regrets his involuntary action and apologizes to her for acting so impulsively, nearly scaring her off with his horrendous expression. Hakua smiles kindly and expresses her gratitude. Later, they are all enjoying the party, and Yu is apprehensive at first. But then he realizes that in such a friendly, happy place, he might survive. While enjoying the party feast, he realizes that it has been ages since he had one, and recalls those isolated, dreary meals that he used to have earlier. Suddenly, Vina interrupts his thoughts and wonders about his weekend activities. Yu's inner monologue, "What's leisure again? Is that something I do on weekends?" He is about to respond when he suddenly shrieks in pain, touching his cheek. He offhandedly blurts out, pointing towards his mouth, that he usually visits the dentist due to painful cavities. Sora is concerned about whether he should be eating a dessert in this case. Yu is relieved since he could sense the world stop spinning for a moment. Later, Hakua reminds everyone that they will be having their entrance ceremony the next day, so they must retire to their respective rooms. Soon, everyone obliges, and as Yu finds solace in his room, he analyzes the bizarre situation he is stuck in, living with 2 boys and 3 girls. Yu's head. Is this a sitcom or a nightmare? Still, he assures himself that he will be okay here, since he has always longed for a physical place that is away from his addictive live streaming days. He is compelled to unpack his online equipment, but forces himself not to as he has promised himself to change and adjust in this new environment. Meanwhile, some individuals quickly change their get-ups to begin their respective live streaming sessions. The 4 very popular live streamers are Puchineko, an expert in idol talk, Sweet Macaron, a virtual idol, White Crow, an expert in Holy Night idol talk, and Bat, an expert in cross-dressing. Surprise! Yu's housemates are secretly internet celebrities. Someone get Yu a helmet for this ride. It is shockingly revealed that Yu's foreign mates are those popular live streamers in disguise. In reality, Yuzuko is Puchineko, Sora is Sweet Macaron, Vina is White Crow, and Sauda is Bat, and is cross-dressing as a high school girl for this session. But the most shocking one is Hakua, disguised in a black bunny mask, having expertise in cosplay, FPS gaming, also known as Usagi-run. She excitedly invites all her peers to go wild with hunting. Her screen is gushing with comments, urging their beloved boss Usagi to join them. On the other hand, Yu is hoping to live his youth to the fullest and is firm about not joining live streaming ever again. The next morning, Yu freaks out as he overslept and gets late on the first day of school. As he frantically climbs downstairs, Hakua greets him cheerfully. He is astonished to see her, so she states she has been waiting for him, and now they must head off. When he apologizes, she assures him that they can still make it on time. She good-naturedly adds that she is quite aware of the fears of going to school alone. Hakua is out here being a school day superhero. Where's Yu's cape? He nearly breaks into tears at the display of such divine kindness. Soon he picks up his key and glances at the board where some dorm rules are scribbled. It is mentioned that if those rules are not followed, then whoever breaks them will be kicked out, and also they should all be in by 10 p.m. at the latest. Later at school, Hakua introduces herself to the class and expresses her intention to run as the student council president. She hopes to create everlasting memories with the class. Yu is in awe of her, listening to her flawless greeting and introduction. Next, the teacher calls out his name, and a panic-stricken Yu tries to calm his nerves and plans to smile just like Hakua. As he forces out a grin while introducing himself, eerily, it comes out as quite houndish, making all his classmates jump in terror. Yu's inner monologue, well, at least it's memorable, right? Later, as he walks dejectedly in the corridor, Hakua anxiously calls out to him as she feels he looked nervous during his introduction. Fresh tears well up in his eyes as the kind girl shows concern towards someone like him. He sheepishly admits that he had tried to imitate her but failed miserably, and he believes that it is practically impossible for him to do so, like always. Yu's self-esteem level, somewhere between fail and epic fail. Instantly, he brightens his mood and congratulates her for being selected as a class rep on her first day. He exclaims that everyone is glad for her to take this grueling responsibility. Hakua consoles him that even though people may find him a bit clumsy at first, but then they'll eventually get to know him as an honest and kind person. He expresses his gratitude as she smiles kindly at him. Suddenly, the sweet moment is interrupted by simultaneous message tones indicating messages received at both ends. It appears that their roommates had informed them on the common chat platform that they will all be late that day. Soon, they both decide to head back when their teacher calls out to Yu. It is revealed that Yu still has some enrollment forms to fill up, so the teacher wants him to follow him to the staff room. He quickly obliges and then nervously apologizes to Hakua that even he will be late that evening. She assures him that she will be heading back first. Yu arrives earlier than expected that evening. As he hangs his key on the holder, he wonders whether Hakua is in her room. He enters his room thinking that he still has some unpacking to do. He stares outside the window, being curious about what she might be doing at the moment since her room is just below his. Yu's inner thought: what could she possibly be doing down there? Plotting world domination. He is flabbergasted by a deafening scream, and he panic-strickenly guesses that she might be attacked by a robber. He gasps in terror and swallows hard. But then he realizes how she has helped him several times in the past couple of days. He quickly jumps to his feet, intending to help her. Meanwhile, it is revealed that Hakua is busy with online gaming and is hysterically trying to shoot down an enemy. Once she hits the target, she jumps with joy on her chair, celebrating her success, and carrying a gaming rifle. Is she gaming, or is this a training session for future ninja attacks? Suddenly, a terror-struck Yu barges into her room, quite concerned about her well-being. However, seeing her disguised in a shaded mask, he freezes in his place. His gaze falls on her screen, and he unbelievably asks her whether she is live streaming on Cast Live. In the split second, she rushes towards him, drags him inside, and slams the door shut, leaving him completely shocked. Next, she pins him to the wall with her leg and points her game rifle at his forehead. Yu is terrified and is completely clueless about the whole situation. She menacingly points out his audacity to barge into a girl's room without permission. She threatens him that if she were to report his action to the school, then what would happen to him? The girl shows him a dark prospect of his getting expelled. Yu's thoughts: okay, I'm officially living in a spy thriller now. Poor Yu tries to explain his situation, so she mellows down a bit. In the next moment, she stoops on her knees and with teary eyes begs him not to leak her secret outside. Yu is still distressed, but she keeps on wailing. She tearfully warns him that if he won't keep his mouth zipped, then she will spread random rumors about him that will eventually bring him public disgrace. Yu cannot believe that she will be reporting him falsely. Still, he frantically requests that she put down her model girl since that can be dangerous. Hakua is all over him, impatiently probing him whether he will guard her secret or not. He nervously blurts out that he won't tell anyone, but her wails get louder as she claims that she cannot trust him. Yu's head: this is it. I'm going to die from overthinking. Yu cannot believe that she is throwing a tantrum like a spoiled child. He calmly assures her that he has no evil intention of leaking her secret, so she can rest assured. Still not convinced, she orders him to accompany her the whole day tomorrow just to check that he holds to his promise. The next morning, as they quietly sneak out of the door, Sauda catches them, wondering whether they are going somewhere together. They are both shaken by his sudden intervention, and then a jittery Hakua explains that their destination is supposed to be similar. Yu blurts out that he will be back by evening. Yu: yeah, definitely. I'll be back, like a responsible adult, totally. Sauda cheerfully bids them goodbye. Once out of sight, Hakua condemns him for acting so jumpy. Fearing that he will put everyone in doubt, he sheepishly apologizes, but then expresses his curiosity about why they are visiting an electronics store. An annoyed Hakua shouts at him for breaking into her room the previous night. As a result, some of her computer parts were damaged due to the forceful shutdown. Yu humbly apologizes to her again. Yu: guess I'm officially on the don't touch tech list now. Deep down, he recalls how he never wanted to get involved in live streaming again, but life has different plans. As she checks out a part, she appears quite baffled about its type, and you can actually see the floating question marks above her head. Yu: I didn't know we were doing tech support today. Should have brought my Geek Squad t-shirt. He guesses that she might not be very skilled with machines. He quickly tells her that the part she is holding has high sensitivity and produces high-quality output as compared to the other one, which has noise cancellation and is cheaper. Yu: okay, I'm basically talking like a salesman now. Should I start charging her for advice? She is suspicious of him being so tech-savvy. He quickly realizes his mistake and covers it up by explaining that his relative is a mic seller. He is relieved when she doesn't query him more. Yu: woo, dodge that one. Tech secrets. Kept for now. She doesn't feel the need to thank him since he is the reason for her computer damage. Also, she clarifies that it's not because she has insufficient knowledge about technology that she asked him to accompany him. She probes him again about the reason for his barging into her home like that. Yu: yeah, no thanks for me. I'm the walking disaster. He nervously mentions that he had heard her scream, so he decided to help her out, and that's why his body acted impulsively. She stares at him in stupor and then confirms whether he is telling the truth. Excitedly, she swiftly plans their next stop. He inquires whether she really wants to go there. A hyped-up Hakua manipulates him by explaining that he looks like he really wants to go, so she will only accompany him. So I'm just a pawn in her master plan? At least it's an interesting one. Soon, the duo enters the gaming arcade, and she animatedly points at a game that she desperately wants to try. She challenges him to a match to see who gets the most kills. He looks at her unbelievingly, wondering whether she is a first-timer in an arcade. He agrees, stating that he had already played the game before. Quite later, Hakua wins big time and jeers at him, whether he is annoyed by losing to a beginner. She even flaunts her so-called divine aim. Beginner my foot. She's like an arcade goddess. Afterwards, she goes completely berserk, trying one game after another. He can sense that she is just playing around. He observes that she looks peculiar than usual. Finally, he gets to see her real self as she insanely delves into various challenges, completely oblivious to her surroundings. So, this is the real Hakua, a gamer with zero chill. Later that evening, he probes her about hiding her true self as he sees how much she is into arcades and live streaming. She explains that live streaming and gaming are taboo and considered problematic. She adds that this is the reason she only wants to show her honor student side that everyone knows, and very soon she will be the chairman of the academy. So she's basically Clark Kent, but with a gaming console. Got it. He is curious about why she started live streaming then. She reveals that someone encouraged her to continue being her true self. He stares at her blankly. Okay, so there's some secret live streaming mentor. This just gets weirder. She points her finger at him and strictly warns him not to leak her secret or else he will be sorry. An agitated Yu grabs her finger and states that he has no plans to do that. But still, he expresses his astonishment at the revelation of her shocking side. He admits that spending the whole day with her was quite fun. Suddenly, he realizes that he is actually holding her hand and swiftly drops it like a hot potato, apologizing frantically. He regrets touching her impulsively again. He analyzes how much similarity they have, as even he was like that before, trying to camouflage his real identity. However, there is still a part of him trying to convince himself. She offers a deal that if he guards her secret, then she will be tight-lipped about the matter of his entering her room without permission. She declares that they will be bound by each other's secrets. Great, partners in crime. Should I bring snacks, or is this just a metaphorical deal? A puzzled Yu calls her out by her surname, but she urges him to call her Hakua only. She insists that since they are partners in crime, they must get along. Wait, no formalities? This is going to get awkward fast. He is perplexed since he had vowed to himself never to get involved with streaming again, but still he agrees to become her partner in crime. Guess I'm stuck in the live stream mafia now. How do you even quit this thing? As they reach home, Vina clings to him with a meaningful grin. When Yu stares at him inquisitively, he reveals he had seen both Hakua and him on the bridge, and he seemed to be enjoying her company a lot. A flustered Yu tries to protest, but Vina isn't listening and keeps on whistling playfully. I'm not going to survive this house, am I? A flushed Yu stares at Hakua and realizes that Vina is right, since the day actually seemed like a date with Hakua. She stares at him, then signals him to be silent. Yu anticipates that life in the sharehouse will have its own set of issues, and he is a bit concerned about them. Well, this is going to be a fun ride. I can already feel the chaos. Meanwhile, Hakua is back with her live game streaming like a bang. Yu is secretly monitoring her chats and wonders whether she will be able to keep her real identity a secret from others. I'm in too deep now. Just don't let her catch me spying. After taking a shower, Yu notices some items left on the table. He realizes that Vina has left his hoodie, while Sora has forgotten her smartphone, so he decides to return them to their respective rooms. It's like a lost and found day in this house. What's next? Someone's left their pet rabbit behind. Vina is glued to one of his Holy Knights congregation when he is startled by a sudden knock on his door. He quickly excuses himself from his followers, takes off his cloak, and then opens the door. Is this the secret nightlife, or is he just always this dramatic? He finds Yu standing outside, handing him the hoodie that he left downstairs. He cheerfully thanks Yu, who notices an eerie inkiness in his room, wondering whether there is an electrical fault in his room. Vina replies that he was just about to sleep. Yu quickly apologizes, but Vina playfully remarks whether Yu is interested in something else. A flustered Yu frantically yells goodnight to him and turns away. A mischievous Vina makes a pouty face, insisting that he was just pulling his leg. Yu, what is this, some kind of weird prank show? After shutting the door, Vina smugly praises himself for becoming a pro at changing. On the other hand, cross-dressing pro Sauda is streaming live, stating that he is scouting old men that day. He is proud of the fact that people can be easily tricked into thinking of him as a high school girl. Suddenly, there is a knock on his door, so he quickly excuses himself, covers himself completely with a large hoodie, and opens the door. Yu addresses him by his surname, Sao Tome, and hands him his earphones that he had left downstairs. He thanks him and insists that he call him Sauda. A baffled Yu nods. He notices that Sauda's cheeks are unusually rosy and anxiously wonders whether he has caught a cold. Yu, is this what being a high school girl feels like? Is there a cold going around? Unconsciously, he raises his hand to confirm, but Sauda grabs his hand in the middle and emphasizes that he is not feeling well, so he will be resting now. Sauda, just pretend this is normal. Nothing suspicious here. He thanks him again for showing concern and returning his stuff. As Sauda closes the door, Yu is confused, wondering whether something came over Sauda or if he is just overthinking. Yu, I swear, the more I think about it, the weirder it gets. Sauda is aware that his face is rosy because of the makeup, and realizes that Yu is not as dumb as he appears. Even Sora is stuck with Cast Live, all dolled up, having a live singing and dancing session. She has even installed a virtual character, so whenever she moves, her movements are transmitted to it. She is taken aback by a sudden knock on her door, so she excuses herself and breathlessly opens the door, all disheveled and covered with sweat. Yu? Am I interrupting some kind of intense workout session? An abashed Yu quickly turns his face away from her near-bare appearance and hands her the cell phone. He cannot help being inquisitive about the questionable way she is dressed. Is she training for a concert or trying to start a new dance trend? She explains that she was just stretching herself, and then anxiously wonders whether he heard something while standing outside the door. Yu, I swear, if I say anything wrong now, it'll be awkward for life. He nervously refutes. A relieved Sora quickly slams the door on his face and bids him good night. He cannot believe how eerie she is. That was like a horror movie with no jump scares, just weird tension. Meanwhile, Yuzuko is also engaged with her followers during a live streaming session as Puchineko. She refers to her followers as masters and talks to them in a completely transformed voice. Yuzuko, all right, my dear masters, ready for some Puchineko magic. It appears that her masters are desperate to hear her cute talk. This session is interrupted by a loud knock on her door. Yuzuko, who's interrupting my kingdom of cuteness? She cautiously opens the door and finds Yu standing outside, handing her a fluffy wallet that she had forgotten downstairs. Yu, another lost item. At this rate, I'm starting a personal collection. A baffled Yuzuko wonders how he knew the wallet was hers since it isn't even labeled. He reasons that he has always seen her carrying goods with a cat symbol on them and guesses that she has an affinity towards felines. He even points at the cat hairpin that she has currently adorned. Thoroughly embarrassed, she hysterically yells at him not to look at it since she feels humiliated when people do so. He protests that it looks amazing on her, but she refuses to take that compliment. Yuzuko, stop being nice. You're making it worse. As she shuts the door on his face, a dejected Yu wonders whether his face was too scary, and maybe he had acted like a nosy Parker. What a weird, sweet, awkward guy. She tries to calm her nerves down, realizing that she panicked big time back then. Later in the laundry room, she is still thinking about him and recalls Yu's thoughtfulness, who just came all the way to her room to return her stuff. She reckons his attentiveness as well, and thinks of him as a bizarre person. Later, she feels that something is inside the washing machine and finds a flowy black and white dress. Yuzuko, wait, is that someone's lost prom dress? Yuzuko is dumbfounded and remembers that the signature dress belongs to Usagi-dun. On the other hand, Hakua is dozing off, completely unaware that she left her dress in the washing machine. A perplexed Yuzuko is sitting on her bed, pondering whether the dress she found in the machine is Usagi-dun's maid uniform. Yuzuko had chickened out and had fled from the scene, but afterwards, when she returned, it was gone. She is aware that Usagi-dun is a very popular live streamer, with an average of 5K views for every stream. She dejectedly realizes that she is more hip than her own character Puchineko. Maybe Puchineko needs a new marketing team. A new haircut, at least. According to her, there are two suspects in this share house, Hakua and Sora. In her imagination, she puts the dresses on both girls and then analyzes them in depth. After giving much thought, she concludes that Hakua perfectly fits the description of Usagi-dun. The next day, Yu anxiously notices Yuzuko peering really closely at Hakua whenever there is a break. Although Hakua is completely oblivious, he slowly sneaks towards her back and catches her off guard. He offers to call Hakua for her if she needs anything from her, since he has seen her snooping in their class a few times. She is surprised at his calling Hakua by her first name, since that shows considerable proximity between the two. Well, looks like someone's on a first-name basis with the mysterious suspect. Apprehensively, she mentions Usagi-dan and wonders whether that rings a bell in his head. A panic-stricken Yu begins to wobble and hysterically denies that he doesn't know anybody by that name. He is unable to make eye contact and begins to sweat heavily. A suspicious Yuzuko can see that he is lying. She can see visible discomfort through his expressions and body language. She suspects whether he knows about Hakua's real self and is covering up for her. Yu frantically realizes that he has put her in doubt. She then requests a favor from him. After school, Yuzuko follows Hakua while poor Yu is forced to join her. Earlier, she had requested him to help her investigate the case regarding Hakua's problematic behavior. I hope you pack some snacks, because this looks like it's about to get a lot more complicated. Nervously, he wonders how he got into this whole mess since he has made up his mind not to get involved in live streaming, and now he is a partner in crime with Hakua. Yuzuko suspiciously stares at a cheerful Hakua helping out an old lady and ponders how her perfection scares her. Now Yu is aware that this is only Hakua's outer demeanor, and that will work only until she transforms into a live streamer. He recalls how prime and proper she is, along with being an honor student. Yuzuko notices that Hakua is not faltering anywhere to use relief, but the poor guy nearly has a heart attack when she expresses her desire to search her room in her absence. Yu's internal panic mode activated. He condemns her for going too far, but she protests that there is something she has to confirm. Agitatedly, he desires to know on what grounds she is basing such a strong doubt about her. Hesitantly, she reveals that she found a maid's uniform in the washing machine. He is about to drop dead, since the evidence is quite solid. She animatedly proclaims that she wants to confirm whether that belongs to her or not. He secretly curses Hakua for being so careless. Seeing him freak out, she tells him that he doesn't have to help her anymore and that she will handle the matter herself. But he swiftly holds her hand, bound by Hakua's promise to guard her secret at any cost. Plot twist, Yu's in deeper than he thought. He just signed up for the most awkward detective gig ever. He wildly blurts out that the maid's uniform belongs to him. Yuzuko is shocked to the core, so he repeats. Yuzuko protests that the uniform size is that of a female. He explains that he is collecting different kinds of female cosplay outfits. When she looks at him inquisitively, he, with a horrendous expression and sinister tone, reveals that it is his hobby. She is disgusted by his questionable pastime, but he hysterically puts his head on the ground in front of her and begs her not to reveal his secret. Yu is already in a fix since whatever is happening is totally opposite to what he had decided. Suddenly, it strikes Yuzuko that if he is so much into the maid's uniform, then he must be a big fan of Usagi-dan, and that's why he was a nervous wreck when she mentioned her at first. Plot twist within a plot twist. Yu's secret hobby isn't just cosplay. It's a live streaming conspiracy. She gazes at him thoughtfully and then comes closer to him, smiling uncannily. She mockingly mutters in his ear that if she were to leak his little secret, then he would be humiliated to the core. He desperately asks her for forgiveness and offers to do anything to make it up. He cannot believe that she would turn out like that. Quite sinisterly, she exclaims that from now onwards, he will act as her pet in return for guarding his secret. An alarmed Yu cannot believe his ears. Someone's gonna need a serious therapy session after this. Before he can understand anything, Yuzuko has already plopped her shoe in front of him so that he can tie her laces. The next morning, as Sora comes out of the dorm, she is dumbfounded to see Yu on his fours, panting like a dog. He sheepishly states that he was just checking out the extra clean floor. Sora's face. Is this a secret dog training academy I didn't know about? Poor Yu has lied to her just to protect Hakua's secret. Earlier, when he was off to school, he had encountered Yuzuko, who cattily mentioned her cleaning duty that day. She purrs in her sugary voice whether he will help her out. Poor Yu has no choice but to guard Hakua's secret and his own fake hobby, so off he goes for an endless list of chores for Yuzuko, from bringing her favorite dessert, doing homework, cooking when it is her turn, etc. Someone give this guy a cape. He's clearly a superhero in disguise. Vina playfully points out the growing proximity between the two, and his comment deeply puzzles Hakua. So when she hesitantly approaches him to talk to him about it, at the same time, Yuzuko calls him as well. Yu frantically excuses himself from Hakua to attend to Jumi-san first. Now this happens several times, and Hakua is constantly being ignored by him. Out of fury, she is about to explode, but she maintains her honey smile and sugary tone, and gently mentions to Yuzuko to carry out her duties properly. Yuzuko hides behind Yu's strong back and explains that Yu volunteered to do her chores. Yu? I swear I'm not in a hostage situation, I think. Hakua stares at him, dumbstruck, and on being nudged, Yu is forced to stutter that Yuzuko is telling the truth. There is a loud thundering clap, quite similar to the turmoil happening inside Hakua, but she perfectly camouflages it with her gentle smile. Sauda has been watching the whole scene all along and remarks mischievously that Hakua has been left alone since Yu has been hanging out with Jimmy-san lately. He guesses that Hakua has a thing for him. A flushed Yu tries to explain, but a composed Hakua declares that, as the dorm's manager, she just needs to ensure that rules are being followed properly. Sauda's a menace. He should be an investigative reporter. She adds that she has no issues if the two of them are okay with the chore setting. She turns away with fresh tears welling up in her eyes, and she controls herself from sobbing, thinking that Sauda guessed it all wrong, and this is now what she had thought. Later that night, an exhausted Yu ponders how Jimmy-san is grinding him off. He also feels bad for Hakua, but he couldn't talk to her the whole day. As he glances out the window, he is flabbergasted to see a rope hanging from his window. Like a bolt from the blue, a pair of legs swing inside, throwing him to the ground. Yu, and I thought my day couldn't get weirder. After pinning him down, a triumphant Hakua declares that her mission is complete. She raises her toy game gun at him, sternly reminding him to follow the dorm rules. Looking into his eyes, she makes sure he hasn't forgotten their promise. She leaves a vague threat hanging. If he breaks it then, Yu hesitantly wonders what she means, and she blurts out, "I'll cry." Instantly, tears start flowing as she enters her spoiled child mode. Yu? Is this blackmail or an audition for a soap opera? Panicked, he explains that sometimes unavoidable situations happen and pleads with her not to cry. He then explains how Yuzuko had blackmailed him into doing her chores. Hakua is shocked to learn Yu covered for her when she nearly got exposed as Usagi-den. She yells at him for not telling her earlier. Yu sheepishly admits the mess is his fault. Touched by how far he went to protect her, Hakua wonders if he's just too nice. Yu, I'm starting to think I should have just gone with the dog act. He sighs, saying he isn't kind at all. He only acted out of self-interest. Hakua gently grabs his arm and tells him that's fine. She can trust him because of it. To her, their bond is mutual. They're partners in crime. She smiles and says she's counting on him. Yu is unsure how to respond. Then Hakua brightly announces that now it's her turn to protect his secret, that he collects cosplay outfits. Yu, this just keeps getting better? Or worse? I can't decide. He protests loudly, saying she's going to make people misunderstand. Later that night, Yuzuko says goodbye to her housemates and removes her costume. The next day, everyone heads to the bathhouse. Sora mentions it's her first time there. Hakua adds that it's her first too, saying it feels strange to bathe with others. An annoyed Yuzuko scolds Sora for being too casual about it, telling her to be more mindful. Meanwhile, outside, Yu overhears the girls talking. He finds out the dorm bath broke, which is why they've all come here. Vina stretches, saying it's been a while since he's been in a large bath. Yu notices Vina's bandage and wonders aloud if it should be removed before entering. Accidentally, he unwraps it and is stunned to see a tattoo underneath. Vina panics. The crest of the Holy White Knights has been revealed. Yu, amazed, says the tattoo suits Vina but wouldn't work on him. Yu, Vina, you look like a medieval hero. Me? I look like a guy who needs better band-aids. Vina quietly reflects on Yu recognizing the symbol's value and jokingly calls him a worthy rival. Though he dislikes the tattoo, he tries to scrub it off while showering, to no avail. Later, Vina asks Yu and Sauda what clubs they plan to join. Yu awkwardly avoids answering, and Sauda says he's too busy livestreaming. He guesses Vina will join the soccer club, which Vina confirms he played in middle school. Vina, you know, I'm starting to think I'm the only one here who doesn't live in front of a screen all day. Vina asks Yu about his club history. He nearly confesses to live streaming, but instead says he's constantly visiting the dentist, so he can't join any club. Sauda gives him a look of pity. Meanwhile, Hakua overhears them mention live streaming and looks suspicious, wondering if they're talking about her. Sora calls out to her, worried about her stern look. Hakua quickly masks her suspicion and shifts the conversation to Sora's basketball club. Hakua, live streaming? Me? Nah, I'm just over here being the perfect student. Sora explains she was selected for the team. Since she doesn't dislike sports, she decided to join, especially before other clubs could start pressuring her. Hakua guesses she's popular for her looks and athleticism. Surprisingly, Sora walks up and gently touches Hakua's cheeks. With a calm, almost eerie tone, she tells Hakua that she's far more beautiful than her. Meanwhile, Jimmy has been watching the whole interesting scene, and when an abashed Sora turns away, Yuzuko wonders what was going on. Yuzuko, wait, is Sora giving Hakua a face massage? What's going on here? As she sticks to one corner of the bath, Hakua encourages her to come closer, as she doesn't need to hide, but she flatly refuses. But somehow, Hakua drifts near her, making Yuzuko quite insecure about her physical appearance. She feels that bathing with such gorgeous girls is quite torturous. She unconsciously compares both the girls and thinks that even though Sora is pretty, but Hakua's beauty is at the next level. She regrets mistaking her for Usagi in the first place, as now she realizes that they are entirely different. Hakua seems cute and dependable to her, along with being kind and considerate. Yuzuko, maybe if I wear a giant hat, no one will notice me. Genius idea. She feels a pang of insecurity strike her as she thinks of herself as a dwarf compared to Snow White Hakua. She desperately tries to find one feature of hers that is better than Hakua's. Suddenly, her gaze wanders downwards and falls on her own luscious curves. She unconsciously compares them with Hakua's relatively flatter torso and then triumphantly chuckles. A flushed Hakua suddenly has this urge to kill someone. Hakua considers the sharehouses as mysterious places, where even though they are strangers, they commute to and fro, eat their meals together, and now even bathe together. She feels as if they are all a family. Hakua, is this a family? Or have I just unlocked a new level of madness? She suggests doing lots of fun stuff together, since their lives as high schoolers had just begun. Everyone is stunned by Hakua's impactful speech. Yu ponders that not once after coming here has he felt lonely, as all he has on his mind is being a partner in crime and a pet. Everything is new for him, since he doesn't know all of them that well yet. Meanwhile, all 6 individuals are strictly guarding their live streaming demeanors from each other. In this way, their friendship deepens after the end of the day. Yuzuko is lately worried because one of her followers, Tom, has been sending her back-to-back messages. It appears that the person is severely obsessed with her. He even knows which supermarket she usually visits and about her secret sailor uniform. Is it bad that I'm picturing him with a shrine dedicated to her in his bedroom? A pang of terror strikes her when it occurs to her that he may be aware of her true identity. Suddenly, another message pops up in which Tom has advised her not to stay up late and sleep early. Hesitantly, she peeks through the curtains outside the window, but the whole street is deserted. Is Tom secretly a life coach? Sleep early? This sounds like unsolicited advice. She heaves a sigh of relief and retires to bed. The next day, she cheerfully gathers a whole lot of snacks in front of Yu and sweetly urges him to devour them. Yu is confused, wondering why she is being so nice to him. When someone is too nice, it's either a trap or they want something from you, or maybe both. Earlier, she had messaged him to meet her urgently in the classroom on the 3rd floor during the lunch break. Seeing him puzzled, she innocently wonders whether he isn't happy that she went to so much trouble for these goodies. If this were a movie, this would be the "You're Gonna Owe Me One" scene. He nervously thanks her and is suspicious about why she would grind herself for a dog. As he munches them down thoughtfully, she eerily comes closer to him, confirming whether he gobbled up everything, and he regrets that instantly. Is she trying to see how fast you can choke on snacks? Yuzuko composes herself and blurts out that she needs a favor from him. Fretfully, he tries to reckon whether this is the way she controls people. She apprehensively uncovers that someone might be stalking her. Yu's eyes widened in shock. She continues that the stalker has been messaging her frequently through the SNS platform, and its content has deeply disturbed her. How does one respond to "I'm being stalked" without sounding like a scared puppy? Yu hysterically bellows at her, wondering about her well-being. He freaks out due to rumors of many stalkers wandering around recently. He is certain that the situation might be quite scary for her and offers his complete cooperation. He's now her personal bodyguard. I'm just waiting for the cape. Yuzuko is touched by his caring nature. Even though she treated him like a mutt, She requests that he stay close to her whenever she is outside. Great, now he's a bodyguard and a personal dog. Is this a dream job? Yu is not convinced, so she assures him that until now she has only been receiving messages, and that he has an enormous physique and a terrifying face to match. So that would be enough, and abased Yu doesn't know whether she insulted him or paid him a compliment. So now everywhere Yuzuko goes, he follows her like a shadow, cautiously looking here and there, wondering whether he has to put on the mean expression everywhere. A few days later, Yuzuko learns that day Yu is busy since the teacher has assigned him a task. However, he tells her to wait if she wants to accompany him. Yuzuko agrees but urges him to hurry. Now he's not just a bodyguard, but a chauffeur too. Where do I sign up for this gig? Yuzuko waits for him in the library. She has observed in the past week that nothing has actually happened, and in fact, even the number of messages has decreased. She thinks about Yu, reckoning that it has been a while since she had spent time with someone, although the person is kinda cheesy but nice. But she doesn't have a bad feeling about him, and this is because he seems quite similar to her. Isn't it funny how people who are kind of the same just vibe together like, yup, this is it? For instance, they both get confused about how to act around people. Also, they always pretend to be someone else in public. But after a thorough analysis, she concludes that he is quite different from her, and that he is doing his best to change himself. So he's trying to be normal, huh? Let's see how that works out. For instance, she found him practicing how to smile in front of a mirror one day. She quickly types a message for him that she will be heading home first. Still lost in her thoughts, Yuzuko comes out thinking that she doesn't need to change at all, and her heart belongs to livestreaming only as long as her listeners are with her. She keeps on sprinting forward with a dreamy smile, without a bit of care about her real life. Out of the blue, a stranger springs out at the end of the lane, addressing her as Puchineko-san. He excitedly mentions that he finally gets to meet her. And cue the dramatic plot twist, someone finally recognizes her. Is it her stalker? Or just another fan who can't spell her username? He eerily exclaims how desperate he was to meet her. He introduces himself as Tom and wonders whether she knows him. He reveals that he is the one who has been sending her messages lately. Yup, definitely a stalker. No red flags here, move along. A panic-stricken Yuzuko cannot believe that she is actually encountering her stalker. He reveals that he has looked her up on all the SNS platforms and knows everything about her. This guy's a pro-level stalker. He probably knows her dog's name too. He boldly holds her hand and calls himself her huge fan. He reasons that this is why he has gone through all the hassle to find time and meet her alone. The individual creepily questions her about the guy who always accompanied her and is curious whether he is her boyfriend. Poor Yuzuko is panic-stricken, but she is too numb with fear to get out of his clutches. Excuse me, sir, but are you the human embodiment of a restraining order? She musters up her courage to stop him. Tom wonders about her silence and exclaims how he loves her voice. He compels her to speak and tries to touch her cheek. Well, at least he's not asking for a selfie yet. Miraculously, Yu comes in between and shields Yuzuko. He yells at Tom to stop since his advances are terrifying her. Cue the dramatic rescue music. Yu, the knight in shining armor. A dumbstruck girl observes a panting Yu who has run all the way from school just to rescue her, even though he is terrified. Wait, did he just rescue himself? Plot twist. A flustered Tom wonders why he is hovering around her always and what his relationship with her is. A perplexed Yu is caught off guard, and various beautiful images of Yuzuko flash in his mind. Is Yu secretly daydreaming about her? Classic love triangle setup. Impulsively, he blurts out that he is her dog. Both Tom and Yuzuko are shocked by his insane response, and a flustered girl cannot help thinking of him being a klutz. Tom screams at Yu to stop gibbering and claims that he is her master. He adds that he watches her stream every day and sends her the messages. Tom's really laying it on thick, huh? Did he miss the part where stalking is a crime? He reveals that even Yuzuko acknowledges his messages and responds with a smile. He was expecting her to be happy if a fan were to meet her in real life. So, he's basically living in his own delusional fanfic. Got it. He violently pushes Yu and condemns him for accusing him of terrifying her. Yu is caught off guard and drops to the ground to Yuzuko's distress. Yu's down for the count. Someone get this guy a first aid kit. It appears that his hand has been scratched nastily. She fires up on seeing his pain and then furiously turns towards Tom, accusing him of being selfish himself. Both Yu and Tom are astonished at her sudden boil-up. She is puzzled about how he can assume on his own that she will be happy to see a fan in real life. Plot twist. Yuzuko just became the most baddest character in the room. She screams at the top of her lungs, claiming that it is a sheer bother to be stalked and approached when she is all alone. Both Yu and Tom are taken aback by her sudden outburst. She emphasizes that she is glad he likes her live streams, but even a fan shouldn't cross their limits. She's basically giving a TED talk on how not to be a creeper, pointing out that Tom went out of bounds by hurting her friend. She hysterically declares that Tom is not her fan, as he was being selfish and forcing his ideals on her. Tom stares at her in a stupor and then bursts into tears. He wails, claiming that she is not Puchiniko at all, as she would never say such rude stuff. I mean, how could she? She's too busy being a real person, Tom. He turns away, sobbing hard and stating how he loved her cute and kind side, and that she has been fibbing all the way. Yuzuko is dumb, frozen staring after him blankly. She realizes that she has finally managed to express herself properly for the first time. Whoa, someone's having a character growth moment here. Yu assures her that things are not as bad, and he apologizes for not being of any help. He praises her for boldly driving him away in the end. She giggles and calls him a very nice person. She offers to tend to his wounds and urges him to head back. Quite apprehensively, he inquires about her being a live streamer. Is this a moment of bonding, or is Yu about to sign up for a live streaming class? She freezes on her steps and tries to act aloof about the whole thing. But in the next moment, she wildly shrieks at him. Whether live streaming as a feline to win over her listeners is a sin. Plot twist. Yuzuko is secretly a cat. Yu is taken aback by her sudden outburst, but she threatens him that even she is aware of his dark secret. After the sizzle settles down, she sighs and states that it can't be helped now since he knows everything. Well, the secret's out now. Let's hope it doesn't get any weirder. She declares the end of their slavery contract since now they are both standing on equal footing. She stammers when she is unable to decide what he should be called now. Hesitantly, Yu offers to be her friend if she wants. She agrees, but only on the terms that they will help each other and no betrayal of secrets will be tolerated. Friendship or contractual obligations? Who knows? He frantically agrees and is relieved that their relationship is getting better with time. He wonders whether Hakua and Yuzuko will get along since both are live streamers. Two streamers in the same room. Talk about a ratings boom. She suddenly confirms with him whether he is still a fan of Usagiden. He is about to respond, but she cuts him off in the middle and snarls at him that Usagiden is her rival. She reveals that earlier she got frustrated when she found out that he is her fan, and that's why she made him act like a dog. Yep, that's one way to make sure he knows his place. She keeps on backbiting about how Usagiden steals her thunder in the middle of her live streaming, and that she won't give up her masters to her. Poor Yu decides to remain silent about Hakua and vows to protect their secrets. Is it just me, or is this becoming a live streaming soap opera?